I love you guys' story. You have been together 30 plus years.
Yeah.
Amazing. And you have 4 children.
Yeah.
And it seems like wine is really kind of the cornerstone of your lifestyle.
For sure. For sure. You know, I think Nicole comes from a Italian background, and it was always important in their family existence in essence. And so it's always been a part of our life and a part of our lifestyle. And we kind of crafted the winery around that idea to not make wine such high on a pedestal, and try to create wines that really are affordable and fantastic and over deliver. And I always say Monday through Thursday on your pocketbook, good enough to serve Friday and Saturday night.
Ooh,
So.
I love that. That's awesome. That is awesome. And you have 4 children. So 3 boys and a girl, I think it said.
Yep.
I have 2 brothers. I can't imagine being outnumbered by 3.
She's pretty tough.
She must be. You have to be. So we are tasting. I have 3 of your wines here. You guys can tell me what order you want to go in. I have so 4 Bears is named for your 4 little bears, right? Which
That's
aren't
correct.
so little anymore, I guess.
That's
yeah,
correct.
we started this 15 years ago, so they were little, and now they're college, out of college, and one going into college, and then one in high school.
Oh, it's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So, well, I have Sauvignon Blanc from the 4 Bears line.
Yep.
And Chardonnay.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then I have the Sonoma Coast Chardonnay as well. We're going to talk about food and wine, which is, you know, they go together so beautifully. It's such an important part of the lifestyle. So I know Nicole's an amazing cook, and you have some recipes that we're going to share afterwards.
That's
Absolutely.
right. Sauv Blanc, you know, it's one of those varieties I just love. It's so aromatic and just tasty. And this is the 2018 SB, and majority of this comes out of Sonoma. So our winery is just south of the Sonoma Square, but we kind of dabble in a number of different AVAs around the state. So areas around the state that grow these particular varieties fantastically. And this is mostly coming out of Sonoma with a little Lodi. So, you know, with SB, it's all about canopy management. You're trying to manage the pyrazines that are provided, that those flavor compounds that kind of border are bookmarked by one end being that kind of really green bell pepper, and the other end being more that sweet basil. And that's really about getting sun exposure to the fruit that allows you to kind of control that scale. And so this has some really, really nice fresh fruit, grapefruit, pink grapefruit, citrus, but also you get almost a little bit of kiwi or tropical in the mid palate, which makes it really complex and really, really quaffable. You know, sometimes Sauv Blanc can be almost fatiguing on the palate because of the level of acidity. So there is a little something. We do a little, about 15% of the lots go into neutral French oak, not to impart any oak aroma, but it just gets a little, it gets a little lees contact, just softens the entry a little without taking away from the great varietal acidity you expect to have with the wine.
It's fantastic. I love this because you get so much of a lot of California Sauvignon Blanc. To me, you get a lot of really intense grassiness. This really is fruit forward wine, and it doesn't have the grapefruit's there, but it's not like New Zealand where it just jumps out at the glass and assaults your nose. I really appreciate that. I think it's a very, very nicely balanced wine. And then Nicole, what are you pairing with this wine?
Well, actually, I really like that. I have a mixture of a couple different crostinis that I do, and especially because that's 100 right now in California, 90 to 100. So this is a great patio wine, and I like to do real simple fare with it. I'm doing a little Chev goat cheese with grilled peaches and a reduction of balsamic. And I have a ton of basil in our garden, so I might put a little of that on top, or rosemary, whatever I'm in the mood for. It's also really good with a hummus platter, but we can pair that with the Chardonnay as well.
Well, it's nice to have the versatility. People sometimes live in one camp or the other, so we'll open both.
It's true, absolutely. And I think the best part about entertaining with the Sauvignon Blanc is you can prep all this before, have it served just at room temperature. You could do a salmon and have it at room temperature. Yeah. And then you're actually sitting with your guests and drinking your wine, and you're not
instead of in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my plan.
We've been there. Well, this is beautiful, and I love the idea of the crostini. So we'll post the recipe and the combo. And also, you have an amazing blog with a lot of different recipes for seasonal dishes, and interchangeable with the different wines. So that's so nice to have that versatility. Give a little bit of a spread.
Yes, and
I love it.
We pick up a lot of those recipes just in traveling. I mean, it's amazing, or on the internet, obviously, or I'll tweak them a little bit. I'm notorious for making whatever I have in my refrigerator. So sometimes they're just that, and it works because going to the grocery store is not my favorite thing to do.
Especially right now.
Especially right now, it's such a production. Okay, wine number 2, we have the Chardonnay. This is also from the Four Bears line. So you guys started out when you were called Four Bears.
That's correct.
And then you added the Sean Minor tier, which is sort of, is that how you would describe it?
Yeah, exactly. And really kind of upscale a bit. But what we found that people seem to gravitate more to the Sean Minor name, not necessarily the Four Bears. So, that was really to emphasize the fact that we're a family entity, that, we're not a corporate entity. We're not created behind a marketing desk. This was really, truly a family. You're looking at probably 30% of the company right here. So, that was really with the kids' initials on there to really emphasize that. But, as my ego grew, my name got bigger on the label, to tell you the truth. It's just the only way we could go.
That's okay. Right? You should be proud of this. And that's cool for the kids. They get to go off to college and be like, I have a wine.
Well, yeah, and actually, all the proceeds are going to them anyway. So we just
no kidding, I'm sure.
They're going to quickly become the life of the party.
That's good. And then you guys get to retire as you deserve.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of them's got to go into the business.
Something like
someone has to do that. I'm sure they will. Anybody interested?
We actually just, our daughter just graduated from Cal Poly, and she worked for J. Lore in the lab, and she's going to go work for Calera.
Oh gosh, Calera is amazing. So, what a great.
Yeah. So she'll get experience and hopefully come back and join us.
Oh, that's phenomenal. Just if you're talking Chard and Pinot and what you guys do so well, that's a place to learn.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
That's really awesome. Good for her.
Yeah. So this, Chardonnay to me is kind of one of those varieties that seems to get fairly manipulated in the cellar coming out of California. You have some fairly extreme elements. Again, if we're to use a scale, the far right being that big oaky buttery bomb, the far left being that naked Chardonnay. And with all our wines, majority of our business is restaurant by the glass. Obviously, we're great in independent retail as well, but you really, when you think about that, you want to be able to create an environment where by the glass you have both the novice consumer as well as the expert consumer. And the only way you can really entertain that type of palate is to create a real balanced atmosphere in the mouth. And obviously aroma is important. I want it to smell and like what's dictated on the label.
Sure.
But, for me, it's all about mouthfeel, and I want a lot going on entry, mid-palate, finish, so that it really kind of engages your senses. And with Chardonnay, I love barrel fermented Chardonnay, but I don't want it to be all about the barrel. So I talk about balance, and balance by definition is not one element standing above the other. So this, we're a hot viticulture area in California looking for cool sites. And when we talk about Chardonnay, we really have to find sites that provide some really maritime influence or some type of coastal influence that provides that real diurnal shift from day to night, high 40s, low 50s at night, up to 80, 90 during the day, so that we have a long growing, gradual accumulation of sugars. And with that Chardonnay, it's actually coming out of Monterey, the Salinas Valley, a river valley right there in the Monterey Bay. Off the Pacific, there is one of the deepest. There's the Big Blue Canyon that's just outside of the bay there. That's considered one of the deepest areas of the Pacific Ocean, and it really brings in these amazing breezes into the valley there, and really helps influence that temperature swing.
Sure, and keep that structure intact.
That's right. That's exactly right. And this really comes from the foothills just right in that valley, so a little bit above the valley floor, so it's a little bit warmer but still very cool influence at night. So it's 100% from that area. And then once we harvest that and whole cluster press and get the juice off the skins immediately, half of the lots go into neutral French oak barrel, or 1 to 3 year old French oak barrels, and the other half is all stainless steel. So it's a 50-50 mix of oak to non-oak. And then the barrel side does go through malolactic fermentation, so we soften those acids a bit, but then we blend all those back together. So you really kind of split the middle between the two extremes of Chardonnay with this particular wine. It's just really balanced, has some richness, but then it finishes really, really clean.
That's quite a lot of consideration and thought and effort going into a bottle that really sits on the shelf or by the glass at a really fantastic value. That's something that always consistently blows people away with these wines. We love showing them because, you know, categorically they are super varietally correct, but so well made. And I'm hearing more and more from consumers. Well, there's sort of a split in generations, but it seems like a lot of people are not looking for that over the top oak, butter bomb, Chardonnay. A lot of people are like, I don't like Chardonnay. And then you put a balanced wine in front of them and they're delighted by it. So
yeah,
thank you.
That's exactly right. And that's kind of funny when we're out in the marketplace. That's kind of the thing that we hear a lot. I don't drink a lot of Chardonnay, but I could drink that one. And and I think it truly is. I don't think people were one of the might be getting a little bit tired of the overtop oak, but when we raced over to stainless kind of naked Chardonnay about 4 or 5 years ago, people realized, that's not really what I want either. And find balance in between, I think, is the way to go.
And it seems like the really over the top styles, a lot of people are very like brand specific and they just stay in that lane. And this is like a way that we're kind of re-exploring this amazing queen variety.
Yeah, and it's a 90 rated wine, right? It's 90 points out of Wine Enthusiast, and I mean it's still a wine that you can see that's under $13 typically on the shelf, and by the glass, it some places are $9-10 by the glass.
And food, Nicole?
Super food friendly, which is a big part of Chardonnay for me personally. A lot of times, you'll see people order a glass of Chardonnay and they're not really eating anything, maybe a cheese or whatnot.
Cocktail wine.
Yeah, and I like to eat, so I like the fact that it's food friendly. Yeah. And so I paired this with a hummus that is not a normal, just everyday hummus. It's mixed with artichoke. And of course, we've got beautiful California Watsonville artichokes here. So it's a great way to get more vegetable in your already vegetable meatless dish. But the hummus recipe I did put on the blog as well. And it's crumbled with obviously Greek feta, and it has olives and bell peppers and red onion. And and cucumber. And it is so amazing with the Chardonnay. I mean, it just, the flavor profiles just explode. And I really didn't expect it. And we did it about maybe, it might've been like 3 or 4 weeks ago, and then put it up on the blog. And it's a meal. You can do homemade naan bread. And I'm all into the how easy can it be that you're sitting enjoying your wine and not slaving in the kitchen. So,
okay, well, now we are going to Sonoma Coast tier.
Yeah. So, with the Signature Series wines, so when we step up from the 4B series, the Signature Series wines are kind of differentiated by the fact that they're cork finished, a little bit more tuxedo packaged in terms of black and white. And I always say it's just a little bit more bells and whistles. So this is going north from the Central Coast area up to very close to our facility in Sonoma. And this is coming off the San Giacomo vineyards in Carneros. And Carneros is, again, one of those regions within California that's so maritime influence, coastal influence. It sits right above the San Pablo Bay. The Carneros region is the most southern part of both Sonoma Valley and Napa, kind of goes over both county lines. But that bay, San Pablo Bay, leads up from the San Francisco Bay just north. So we get these amazing breezes that come up and then just sit over these vineyards and again, creates this kind of fog that sits on the vineyards for, upwards 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon. Our dog is trying to get outside, so she's interrupting our discussion. So it's hard to talk.
Sorry.
It's we all work from home now, so everything goes.
It's at home with Sean.
She'll come into the picture a little bit later.
I love it.
But yeah, so that area obviously is great for Chardonnay as well as Pinot Noir. We do make a lot of Pinot from there. But the San Giacomo family, third generation farmer, one of the largest landholders in Sonoma, amazing farmers, sustainably farmed. So they're recognized for that. Again, it's whole cluster pressed off the skins quickly. This does go into 100% French oak with a little about 20% new. So it is 100% barrel fermented. But again, trying to create that nice balance and being very, very judicious about tasting this frequently throughout the process. So we're not overlaying too much oak. And then again, we not everything goes through a ML. So about 60% ML. So we leave a little acidity in there. And this is another wine Spectator featured. This is one of the top 100 best values of the year last year. So in 91 score. So it's a kick-ass Chardonnay. It's really, and again, the two differences between those two Chardonnay, this is just a little bit bigger in the mouth, a little bit richer, has a little bit more oak, but still finishes very clean. And it's a wonderful, wonderful food wine.
For me, the body of this is kind of, it's the body and the finish that differentiate. The first wine is amazing, but like you say, it's just that great like cocktail wine where you're kind of just having that. This is like really rich and luxurious. And then it's also the finish is like pooling acid, and the fruit is like goes on and on. You get that vanilla note at the back, but it's not over oaked. It's not over seasoned. It's lovely.
Yeah. When we had it, Nicole was mentioning the hummus. We opened this bottle up as well and had that with the hummus, and it was amazing at all the kind of the lemon characters that came through, and almost this lemon meringue that kind of added some features besides just that tropical and apple. I mean, it was just kind of boom, really, really mouth-filling for sure.
And that's a pretty amazing pedigree of vineyards you mentioned as well. So that's definitely worth noting. They're not listed on the label, but that is, I mean, you'd probably double the price.
Yeah, well, and that's exactly right. Exactly right. You hit it on the head.
Hit it on the nose.
We do some single vineyard stuff with the San Giacomo family, and we kind of just take a different angle here so that we're still able to keep this, under $20 retail. But it's definitely coming from an incredible growing family.
Mm. Yeah. Okay, so we have crostini, we have hummus, and I think there was one more dish you mentioned.
Yes.
Mushrooms.
Mushrooms. I love mushrooms. I love all mushrooms. I especially love portobello and cremini mushrooms. But I actually have a dish on the blog that was an influence from Stuart Barker. It's his favorite dish, and it's a mushroom tagliatelle, and I put it on the blog. That would be more, you're eating at home. It's got a little bit of a cream sauce with the Chardonnay. It's fantastic. But again, if you want to do the crostini move, which is sitting outside and prepping in advance, I do this. I actually learned this in Italy, and we made it there, and it just knocked my socks off. And again, it's chev cheese. I do little thyme. I sweat the mushrooms, garlic, chop them up really fine, put them on a crostini. That's on the blog too. And that paired with that Chardonnay is beautiful. And a little light green salad, you really don't need much more on a nice summer day.
And they're real important with both these Chardonnays as well as the Sauv Blanc, that kind of struggle of pairing sometimes with a fresh salad with a vinaigrette, and which is always that challenge. All three of these wines have some pretty good levels of acidity that pair well with that and can work perfectly.
Yeah, I love that. It's so true. That is like such a structural element that is really present for all of them, and I love that. Well, I'm so grateful for you guys' time and for the lineup and for all of the wines that you bring us. And I love on the back label it says always invited. So I know it's a big part of you guys' life. It's the central, tie for everything that you have going on, and we're just so grateful to have the wines here in Colorado and to see you guys. It's nice to meet you.
Well, we love it. We are very, very reachable. If anyone wants to talk to us, I'm the one answering on Instagram, all the direct messages. We are the business. It's us, and we have incredible VPs of sales, and we have people in the office, but we're a very small family-owned business, and our whole point is to just be at your table if we're lucky enough to be invited. So,
thank you. And we'll keep doing what we do out here. You guys keep doing the same, and hopefully we'll see each other in person at some point.
That's perfect. Yes. That sounds great. Thanks for all the great support. We appreciate it.
Absolutely a pleasure. We'll stay in touch.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Enjoy the summer. Bye.
Bye.